I'm going to let you in on a secret. I'm going to let you know the tips and tricks that frequent visitors to Disneyland Paris use to maximise their time in the parks so that you can visit Disneyland Paris like a pro. When you think about visiting Disneyland Paris, there can be a lot of information to take in and it can feel quite overwhelming. It also can be hard to decipher what advice is good advice, what's the best way to do things. So today I'm going to give you some really helpful tips that are going to help you have the best time at Disneyland Paris. My name is Sophie from Most Magical Guides and I make videos packed full of tips and tricks to help you plan your own trips to Disneyland Paris and Walt Disney World. I also do vlogs of my own trips, so if you do like this type of content, hit that subscribe button down below. First up, we're going to talk about the arcades. On either side of Main Street, there are arcades that run down the side parallel to Main Street. These are really convenient ways to get around Disneyland Paris. It's perfect if it's raining because they're sheltered. If it's very, very busy, say it's after the fireworks, something like that, there's far fewer people going down these arcades. And also, they're a fantastic way to get closer to the fireworks if you arrive not long before they start. Main Street at that point will be jammed, but if you go down these arcades, you can get much closer to the action. These arcades are also super handy if you're trying to enter or exit the park when a parade is happening and Main Street is either cornered off or very, very busy. You can just pop down these arcades and get to where you need to go. And you can also access the shops and restaurants on Main Street from these arcades. They also have some seats in these arcades, so if you're looking for somewhere to rest, sit down for a little while and it's out of the elements, then this is a good place. If you do happen to visit and it's a rainy day or you just want to escape the crowds, one of my favourite things to do is to use the secret walkways that you will find all around Disneyland Paris. When they built Disneyland Paris, because they knew that the weather can sometimes be not that great, they actually built these walkways so that people could walk around the parks while still remaining covered. A lot of people don't know about these walkways. They're also really quick routes to get around the park. So that's what I primarily use them for rather than rain cover. You will find walkways in places such as next to Casey's Corner. If you carry on past the arcade, you will see a covered walkway that will take you straight into Frontierland. There's also a covered walkway most of the way through Adventureland. If you are near Pirates of the Caribbean and near Peter Pan, there is a covered walkway that will take you most of the way through Adventureland. There is also a covered walkway if you go into Frontierland the traditional way and you see the sign and they kind of have this like really cool staged area. If you actually walk to the right, that will take you from Frontierland to the front of Adventureland, but all covered. One of my favourite benefits to staying at Disneyland Paris Hotel is extra magic hours. If you utilise this, you can get so many rides done in that first hour. Extra magic hours is just for hotel guests and they can enter the parks an hour earlier than day guests. I have managed to do 4, maybe even 5 rides during extra magic hours, which is incredible. This also includes big rides such as Peter Pan and Big Thunder Mountain, and in extra magic hours is actually the best time to ride these rides because you will go on them with far shorter queues. Now, my top tip for extra magic hours is that not all rides are open, and in fact it's not the same rides every single day. So what I do is as soon as I get into the park, I open up the Disneyland Paris app and I look at the ride wait times. This will let you know which rides are currently open and how long you're going to wait. This is great because it means you aren't going towards a ride that is currently closed and wasting time. Instead, you can head straight to those rides that are open and get on them with the shortest queue times. If you are visiting Disneyland Paris up until the end of September this year, during the 30th anniversary celebrations, you have to check out Dream and Shine Brighter. This is my all-time favourite Disney parade I've seen in any Disney park. It is incredible. What many people don't realise though is because it's listed as a parade, people tend to line up on Main Street thinking it's a typical parade, but Dream and Shine Brighter is very different. This parade starts near Flora's, comes down Main Street, and then when it gets to the hub in front of the castle, there is actually a show. The characters come down off the floats and the dancers, they all get on the 4 different stages that have been set up in the hub and do this incredible performance. Because of this, you are going to want to be inside the hub in front of the castle. This is the best spot to watch Dream and Shine Brighter. It means not only do you get to see the entire show, whereas if you were standing on Main Street you would actually miss out on the main part of the show. It also means you have amazing spots really close to the stages, you get fantastic views of the characters, and if you stand at the 2 front stages you also get amazing photographs that not only have the characters in the shot but also the castle. When it comes to the nighttime shows, there are also some great places to stand if you arrive a little bit later. As I say, make sure you utilise these parades if you are going to see Disney Dreams in Disneyland Park. That will help you get much closer to the front of the castle. Standing by Casey's Corner or Plaza Gardens restaurant can be a great option. There's also seating there, so whilst you are waiting for the show, you can have some food and sit down and then stand up and watch the show from those areas. If perhaps one night of your trip you've already seen the full show and you'd like to experience the fireworks again, but in a far less crowded way, go and visit any other area of the parks. It is worth noting that Fantasyland is shut during the fireworks, but if you went into somewhere like Frontierland, you would have an amazing view of the fireworks, and also the queues for the rides are non-existent. If you were at Disneyland Paris for a few nights, it's definitely worth seeing the full fireworks show one night and then another night going to different areas of the parks where the fireworks are on to utilise the fact that the queues are much shorter and you get a really unique perspective of the fireworks. If you are visiting Walt Disney Studios Park whilst Avengers Power the Night, the brand new Marvel drone show, is happening, the great news is there's really no bad spot to stand. You will be standing in the production courtyard, which is over by Disney Junior Dream Factory, and this is a super wide space. Interestingly, a lot of people do hug towards the Tower of Terror side of the courtyard, but if you actually come over towards Disney Junior Dream Factory, it's far more spacious and you get a fantastic view. A lot of people also try and get as close to the Tower of Terror as possible, but actually if you stand further back you can have a better view. The drones are up in the sky on the left hand side of the Tower of Terror, and there are also projections that are put onto the Tower of Terror, so if you stand a bit further back you get a good view at seeing everything all at once. If you are going to be visiting Avengers Campus during your trip, don't miss out on the hero training experience. It was one of my absolute favourite things I did in Avengers Campus. Here in the Hero Training Centre you can meet either a superhero that you pick or a random superhero that you don't know who you are going to get, and you get to train with them, have some amazing photographs, and of course the really awesome 180-degree photo, which is one of my favourite pieces of merchandise I've got from Disneyland Paris. To do this experience though, you do need to book a virtual place in the queue. This can be done via the Disneyland Paris app at 10 AM and 2 PM daily. You will need to have your park tickets linked to an account on the Disneyland Paris app, but if you have that then you can simply make this reservation and you will then get an estimated wait time of how long you would need to wait. You will then get notifications from the app when it is time to start making your way to the Hero Training Centre because your number has been called. I really liked that you got to be in a virtual queue because it meant instead of just standing in a queue, you could do lots of other things whilst you were waiting. So if you are a big Marvel fan, don't miss out on this. It is such a fantastic experience. You get really fun interactions, amazing photographs, so make sure you go and book your virtual place in the queue the day you want to go and meet them. If you are doing a solo trip to Disneyland Paris, or perhaps you're the only person in your group that wants to go on a certain ride, be sure to check out the rides that have the single rider queue. These typically are a shorter wait time because they will be filling in the spaces in the ride cars that are empty. So say there's a group of 3 but there's 1 extra seat available, they'll pop you in next to that group. This can be super handy if you are with people that don't want to go on a certain ride because it means you won't have to be separated from them for too long, and if you're a solo traveller it just means you can get on the rides quicker and be filling in that gap that they need to be filling to get as many people on the rides as possible. I've actually done a video all about single rider at Disneyland Paris, so I'll link that video down below so you can find out which rides are included. Speaking of ride queues, if you go on Big Thunder Mountain or Pirates of the Caribbean, the queue will split into 2 different lines at one point. Always go for the furthest queue. This queue always tends to be a bit shorter because the other line is the line that people who use the Disability Access Pass or Premier Access will be joining once you get to the front of the queue, so it does make that queue a bit longer. Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland Paris is often regarded one of the most beautiful Disney castles in the world, and what I love about it is it also has some secret areas that you might not know about. If you do walk through the castle itself, on your left hand side you will see a staircase. Be sure to go up there. Here you will find the story of Sleeping Beauty told through amazing stained glass windows. You'll also see some tapestries, and you can even go out onto a balcony that overlooks Fantasyland. And if you go underneath the castle, there is a surprise waiting for you. You will actually find a dragon underneath the castle. It is such a fun thing to go and see. I love to take photos and videos in here. It's kind of creepy and spooky, but do not miss out on this. It's very easy to skip past it, but make sure you go and visit the dragon dragon. Whilst we're speaking about the castle, of course when you were there you were going to want the classic photo, and everyone tends to stand in front of the castle to do this. But if you actually go to the left hand side of the castle, you will see a walkway which will go back around the castle to Fantasyland. Head over here and you will get amazing shots with the castle in the background, but hardly no one is over there. You'll be able to take all these photos with no one else in them, and you will get such a unique photo. It is definitely worth heading to this photo spot. Another place I also like to go is as you are walking up towards the entrance of the castle, they have these little areas that stick out, kind of like turrets, but they aren't covered. If you go into there, you can get some really nice photos again with no people in them. If you have been having the best day at Disneyland Paris but you are feeling a bit tuckered out and you need a rest, then be sure to head to Videopolis. This is over by Star Tours, and in here you'll find tons of bench seating, and they even show Disney cartoons. This is a really great place to rest your feet, and it's also indoors, so if you do need to get out of the weather, this is also a really great place to come. A big part of going to Disneyland Paris is the dining. There are lots of different restaurants and types of dining available, so be sure to check out the Disneyland Paris website ahead of your trip so you can have a look just to see what types of cuisine there are and what restaurants you might want to visit. If you do want to book a table service restaurant, you really want to get those reservations booked as early as possible. You will be able to book dining reservations up to a year in advance, so if you have a trip coming up within the next 12 months, as soon as you book your trip you can start booking those dining reservations for table service restaurants. These sell out very quickly, so do it as early as possible. You can book your dining reservations on the Disneyland Paris app. If you're going to stick mostly to quick service dining, some locations now have mobile order. This is a really great way to speed up the process. You don't have to stand in a queue, and you can buy your meal any time of the day and just select what time you want to collect it. If you want to save some money on dining at Disneyland Paris, I bring breakfast with me. Breakfast averages around 20 to 25 euros in the hotels themselves, and here you do get a buffet so you can load up for the day, but if you're not wanting a super heavy meal at the beginning of the day and then head straight onto Space Mountain or Crush's Coaster and it seems like not a great idea, then maybe skip overpaying out for the breakfast. A quick service meal in the parks will be around 16 euro, so if you skip over breakfast you'll be able to get a quick service meal for significantly cheaper, so it will help you save money. And it also means in the mornings you can just get up and go to the parks. You don't have to be queuing and waiting to go for breakfast and queuing for the buffet and all of that. You're going to be saving time, and you're going to be able to go and eat as much as you like. If you want to take things like cereal bars, they're a good way to fill up, but you're not going to be absolutely stuffed when you're going straight onto rides. You can also bring your own snacks to the parks, and that will again keep the costs down. So if you are wanting to not spend as much on dining at Disneyland Paris, be sure to bring snacks and breakfasts with you. If you are wanting to buy snacks or drinks, what I like to do is go to the relay shop in the train station. Right outside the entrance to Disneyland Paris is the train station, and if you pop into here and go into the relay shop, which you'll easily be able to find because it's right at the entrance, you will be able to buy drinks, snacks, things you're used to buying, or even things like plasters, certain medications, things you may have left behind, and they will be significantly cheaper than buying them in the parks. If you do stay at Disneyland Paris Hotel and you arrive via the bus in the mornings, or if maybe you're staying off-site and you use the train station, it's absolutely perfect in the morning just to pop in the shop on the way into Disneyland Paris. Meeting characters is a really big part of any Disney trip, but the queues to meet characters at Disneyland Paris are always super long. If you're wanting to meet Mickey Mouse, you most likely will be queuing at least an hour, and the Princess Pavilion could be over 2 hours. A great way to meet a lot of characters at once is at a character dining meal. There are a few of these at Disneyland Paris. You can do breakfasts or dinners, and they're a really great way to meet either Disney princesses or classic Disney characters like Mickey Mouse and his friends, whilst also having a meal. If meeting characters is a top priority for you, then this is a really good way to do it because you will just save so much time and be able to meet multiple characters in one meal. Another great place to meet characters is at the Disneyland Paris hotels. Be sure to go to the reception and you will see what times and which characters are going to be available for you. They often wear outfits that are themed to the resort, which is so cute. So you also get really unique photos. This is a really good way to meet characters with shorter queue times. Disneyland Paris is a super picturesque park, and there are also loads of great photo spots. Aside from the amazing views that you can get of the castle in these secret locations I've told you about, there are also really great places such as the pirate ship and Skull Rock over by Pirates of the Caribbean. You've also got the Alien and Buzz Lightyear photo spots on the way to the Cars road trip ride in Walt Disney Studios Park. I also personally love the little domino wall that you get in Toy Story Playground. You can can also get some really fantastic photos if you go on the steamboat, the Molly Brown, of Big Thunder Mountain in action. I also love if you stand in front of Phantom Manor, you have a fantastic selfie location for Big Thunder Mountain. So just keep an eye out when you're going around the park, because Disneyland Paris is packed full of great photo spots. One of the things that I have learned from going to Disneyland Paris frequently is to make sure you take breaks. You will be doing most likely 20,000 steps a day, and your feet will be very aware of that. It does seem counterproductive to take breaks because you think, I want to pack as much in as possible, but you actually will fit more in if you do rest your body, because you will not be suffering as much and it won't be as miserable. Some really great ways to take breaks in the park is to go and see a show. There are lots of different shows. They tend to last 20 to 30 minutes, and it's a really good opportunity to sit down and have a rest. You might also want to have a table service meal during the day. This way you get to have a really tasty, nice meal, but also have that sit down. Dining in France is rather casual. They will not be rushing you out the door and expecting you to pay your bill the second they've put down your dessert. They will let you take your time. So if you do want to rest and recharge, this is a really great way to do it. You can also just sit down and people watch. If you are somewhere like Avengers Campus, they have lots of built-in walls that are designed for you to sit down. This is a really fantastic location to sit down in, because you will see all the superheroes, the Marvel characters walking around interacting with people. They even come out on rooftops, there's shows, so having a little rest here is a fantastic idea. If you're also visiting in the months where the parks are open very late, then it might be worth actually going back to your hotel and resting. Here you can just have a little break, a sit down, collect yourself, charge your phone, maybe have a little nap, and then go back out in the evenings. The parks can be open up until 11 p.m, so very, very late. So going from park opening to park close will kill you. It's such a long time and your feet will be absolutely screaming. So having these little rests will be perfect. One of my favourite places to have a rest is in the Royal Pub in Disney Village. If you're not wanting to go back to your hotel room, then maybe consider coming here. When I went in March this year with my friends, we ended up going every single day. It was the perfect place to rest because it's a really nice relaxing atmosphere. If you sit closer to the bar, there's music, but if you sit further away, it's quiet and you can just talk. Lots of seating. The drinks were really good. It can be a little bit pricey, but kind of everything is at Disneyland Paris. It's to be expected, but we absolutely loved going here. We went in the afternoons each day, and then one of the evenings we actually went after park close. So if you're adults looking for something to do in the evening, the Royal Pub is a really good option. Another great place for adults to go and relax in the evenings is the Skyline Bar at the Art of Marvel Hotel. This is a really sophisticated, sleek bar. The decor inside is beautiful. It's supposed to be like a really nice Manhattan bar. They have screens which have the skyline to look out. There's lots of different cocktails here, very big extensive menu, and it's just a really nice place for adults to go and relax. It does have an adult atmosphere, so even though children can visit, it's probably not very interesting for them because there aren't really many Marvel touches. It's very subtle. But if after the parks close you are some adults wanting to go and relax, this is a perfect spot. And if you are a Marvel fan, then you should definitely go and visit the Art of Marvel Hotel. It is super cool inside, and you don't have to be staying there to visit. You can go and visit the Skyline Bar. There's also some other lounges and restaurants there. You can also go and visit the shop, get some souvenirs, and just take in all of the amazing artwork and props that you find from the Marvel films in this hotel. If you are staying in a Disneyland Paris hotel and you're someone like me who loves buying the merch, you can actually get the merchandise you buy sent back to your hotel for you, so you're not carrying it around all day. When you get to the till to pay, just ask them if they are offering this service, and then they will take your details down and it will be sent to the shop that is located in your Disneyland Paris hotel, and then you can collect your items from 8 p.m. that day. If you are arriving at Disneyland Paris via the Eurostar or the train from the airport, then look at the Disney Luggage service. If you book the Disney Luggage Express, what you can do is leave your luggage at the train station. They will then give you your park tickets. You can head straight into the park whilst they take your bags to the hotel for you. They also do the same on the return journey, so you just leave your bags at the hotel. They would take them to the train station for you, and it helps you save loads of time. You could stay in the parks much longer because you're not having to trek all the way to the hotel to collect your cases. When I've previously used this service, I've collected my tickets and within 15 minutes being in the parks going on rides. It is so fast and I absolutely love it. This is a really great way to maximise your time in the parks, and it just saves the faff of going backwards and forwards to hotels just to collect your luggage. If you are going to be using the high-speed train to get from Charles de Gaulle Airport to Disneyland Paris's train station, then what I would advise is to wait until 2 weeks ahead of your trip before buying any train tickets. The train tickets are unbelievably expensive, coming out at €35 each way, so a return ticket will cost €70 per person. Bear in mind, this is only a 10-minute train journey. You go just one stop, so it's unbelievably expensive, but it is so fast. It's my favourite way to get from the airport. If you wait until 2 weeks ahead of your trip, they reduce the train prices to around €18 per person, so it's much more affordable. What I would say is that you are tied into the set time that you book. So what I tend to do is I book my return journey in advance because I will know what time I want to leave the parks to get to the train station. But when I arrive, I will wait until I'm at the airport. If you buy your train tickets in the train station, then you will have to pay the full price. But sometimes if you are lucky and you use an app such as the train line, then you can actually still get these discounted tickets if you buy them via the app, even though you're already in the airport train station. One of the ways that I visit Disneyland Paris frequently is by visiting in the off-season. During these months, the prices are significantly cheaper and you can get really fantastic deals. Some of my favourite months to visit are in November, January or March. If you visit and there are no school holidays or public holidays, the prices tend to come down a lot during these months. If you are wanting to see more videos about how to visit Disneyland Paris like a pro, I will add a playlist at the end of this video on the end screen, and you can see all of my videos about planning trips to Disneyland Paris, and they should be really helpful for you. So those are my top tips to visit Disneyland Paris like a pro. If you use these tricks and tips, they will really help you maximise your time in the parks, save some money and save time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you do like more content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. But until next time, I hope you have a most magical day. Bye bye.